and just make sure y'all are really taking in this information, because we have to understand these hormones in general. Hormones are the molecules that deliver the messages to target a cell. So like, for example, the thyroid hormone delivers a message to the cells in the thyroid gland to increase its activity. We all know from yesterday, insulin delivers the message to the cells to take glucose out of the blood and use it for energy. To deliver these messages, these hormones must attach to a target cell by binding to the receptors on that cell's surface. It's almost like a lock and key. Insulin acts on the insulin receptor to bring glucose into the cell. So insulin is the key, and it fits snugly into the lock, which is the receptor. The door is open and glucose gets in. All the rest of the hormones practically work in roughly the same fashion. So when we eat these foods, they're broken down into the stomach and the small intestines. Like I said earlier, proteins are broken down into amino acids. Fats are broken into fatty acids. Carbs, which are chains of sugars, are broken into smaller sugars. Dietary fiber is not broken down. It literally moves through us without being absorbed. Fruits. This is fruits. You get the majority of your fiber, the most fiber you can ever possibly get is in fruits and vegetables. There is not a single ounce, not a single ounce. Hear me when I say, y'all, there is not a single ounce of fiber in meat products. None. It's not in anything related to the animal. And fiber is low key what the body needs, not protein, because we have protein within us. Our bodies automatically make the proteins from when we're eating. It's the fiber that we need. The more fiber that we're consuming, the quicker we get full. I don't know if you guys have just eaten enough fruit to kind of pay attention to it, but if you have, some of you can probably attest that you can eat a certain amount of fruit and get full faster than what you can eat a full course meal and eat that whole meal and still probably have a little room for more. Like I can eat maybe a slice of watermelon, and because it's packed with water, I get full so fast. It's the fiber in these fruits in which the body needs this fiber to actually allow us to thrive and excel and get that energy that we really need so we're not tired and sluggish. Let's see. Oh, okay. So like I was saying, dietary fiber is not broken down. It literally moves through us. It doesn't have to be absorbed. All cells in the body can use the blood sugar, the glucose, and certain foods, particularly refined carbs, raise blood sugar more than any other foods. The rise in blood sugar stimulates the insulin release. Protein raises insulin levels as well, although its effect on blood sugar is like really minimal. But dietary fasts, on the other hand, tend to raise both blood sugars and insulin levels, but minimally. Insulin is then broken down and rapidly cleared from the blood in like 2 to 3 minutes. But insulin is definitely a key regulator of energy and metabolism. And it is one of those fundamental hormones that promote fat accumulation and storage. Insulin facilitates the uptake of glucose into cells for energy. I said this yesterday. So when we're eating dinner time, you're ingesting carbs that leads to more glucose being available than needed. Insulin helps move this flood of glucose out of your bloodstream and into your storage for later use. We store this glucose by turning it into glycogen in the liver. Y'all see the liver up there. But the liver has only a limited storage space for glycogen. So once it's full, excess carbs will then be turned into fat. A process called de novo lipogenesis. De novo means from new, lipogenesis means making new fat. So altogether, de novo lipogenesis means to make new fat. So several hours after we eat, blood sugar and the insulin levels start to drop. Less glucose is available for use by the muscles, the brain, and the other organs, and the liver starts to break down glycogen into glucose to release it into the general circulation for energy, which usually happens at night, assuming you're not eating at night, like we're supposed to not be eating at night. So glycogen is literally easily available, but in limited supply, but it's easily available. During a short-term fast, your body literally has enough glycogen available to function. So who was that? Tim, you're doing an intermittent fasting, like your body is literally utilizing glycogen which is how you're even able to function. You may feel weak, but I bet my last $2 that you're gonna keep on trucking through because of the glycogen. Let's see. And during the longer fast, like 4, maybe 7 days of a water fast, your body then starts making its own glucose from the fat stored. And that's a process called gluconeogenesis. It's literally making new sugars. The fat is burned to release energy, which is then sent out to the body. The fat storage process is kind of in reverse at this point because it's pulling from there. It's burning everything that has been stored. Insulin is basically a storage hormone. It's storing fat. Ample intake of food leads to insulin release. Insulin then turns on storage of sugar and fat. When there's no intake of food, insulin levels fall and burning of sugar and fat is turned on. This process happens every single day. And normally this well-designed, balanced system keeps itself in check. When we eat, insulin goes up. We store the energy as glycogen and fat. We fast, insulin goes down, and we use our stored energy. As long as we feeding and fasting, as long as our feeding and fasting periods are balanced, then the system remains balanced. So if you're eating breakfast at 7 a.m., just, I don't know how early everybody's eating, but you finish eating dinner at 7 p.m., you're leaving that whole entire 12 hours of fasting to focus on like balancing out everything that's taking place. But see, when our hormones are out of control and our hormones are literally controlling every decision we make, those that have, fasted with us previously, we spoke on the cortex and the amygdala and how when the amygdala has control, it ain't nothing you can do about it. The amygdala stores all the emotional memories. And once it's turned on, and the longer it's turned on, if you live in a constant state of anxiety, stress, you're always emotional, 9 times out of 10, you're operating out of your amygdala-based pathway to your brain every day. That's a whole nother lesson on the amygdala and the cortex, but it has everything to do with just emotions, emotional eating, the release of the hormones and things like that. So, like I said, if we have this fasting and fed period, and we're actually allowing our bodies to fast for a certain amount of time, which is why they created like the 16-8 and things like that, then everything is cool. It's easy for your body to go back into that homeostasis process. But like I said, when you're emotionally or hormonally imbalanced, you're eating any and every time you feel like eating. Every decision you make, every time you think you're hungry, that's exactly what you're doing. You're emotionally eating, you're eating for pleasure. You smell something, it smells good, so now you want to eat it. You low-key not even hungry, but you're just eating, you're eating, you're eating, you're eating, and you're not allowing your body that break to actually burn the fat. They try to implement that by promoting that whole keto diet, which is almost one of the dangerous diets they can actually promote. But again, that's another lesson. But the whole purpose of that is to eat fatty foods in order to get them to burn off faster. Whatever the case may be, if people are on a keto diet and they're still not allowing that break, it's going to be the same thing. So you're not allowing your body to actually break from its fed state and go into the fasting state so we can burn fat. So in other words, before you can even begin to burn fat, you start feeling hungry and anxious because your glycogen is becoming depleted. If you continually refill your glycogen stores, you never need to use the fat stores for energy. So all the fat that's already stored in you, you're not even allowing your body the opportunity to get to it. So the more you eat, the more it continues to build up. And over time, and over time, and over time, and over time, it just keeps building up. Okay, what happens to this excess fat that's produced through that de novo lipogenesis? It's then synthesized and turned around and stored as visceral fat. This fat is stored around the organs, under the skin, in the liver. This is where that consistent weight gain is coming from. Under normal conditions, high insulin levels encourage sugar and fat storage, but low insulin levels encourage glycogen and fat burning. So sustained levels of excessive insulin will tend to increase fat storage, and an imbalance between the feeding and fasting will lead to increased insulin, which causes increased fat. And voila, obesity.